Thank you very much for taking the time to come to UVU. I know this is a near place to your heart due to your experience in the Utah County. And I think and I'm confident that our students and faculty and those that will be listening will have a wonderful experience. So we are honored to have you. And just as a brief, small introduction, because the time is going to be for him, not for me to speak. But it's just let me share with you folks briefly. Former Ambassador Samake is a two-time presidential candidate and has served as Mali ambassador to India and 9 other Southeast countries. Believe me, I work with a lot of ambassadors, and it's very unlikely that an ambassador will serve so many terms. Okay, typically they serve 1 term, then they go back to the country, then they become consul generals, then they go back out as ambassador. But to have an individual of your caliber with so many years of experience, so many different locations, that is unbelievable. In 2009, Samake became the mayor of, and I'm going to see if I can pronounce this very long name, UVU.
Yeah, very close.
That's the Spanish way.
UVU.
Oh, UVU.
Very correct.
Yeah, UVU. Okay, once I hear it, then it makes more sense to me.
Doctor Maya, ¿cómo se va?
And something very unique about Ambassador Samake that I'm totally surprised. My wife, she had 13 siblings, and I thought that was the biggest chaotic family in the world. All right. Well, Ambassador Samake comes from a family of 18 children. Your parents are already, you know, they have their pedestal up somewhere at heaven. I mean, they deserve everything. I mean, just great. And these children in African Mali, certainly they went to bed hungry, as is written in his bio. His father's unshakable commitment to educate his family despite deprivation ultimately led Ambassador Samake to do graduate work in public policy just across the street from us down at BYU. And just want you to know that we love his foundation, Empower Mali, thank you, James, for joining us and your family for being with us today, provide tractors for farmers, build housing for teachers, install solar water pumps, install electricity produced with great grants, and build 43 middle schools in rural villages. Unbelievable, amazing. Thank you for the work that all of you do. And of course, it also coordinates medical and dental missions to Mali. Again, Mr. Ambassador, thank you for taking the time for being with us today. And
maybe I should first start to say that actually, I was an adjunct faculty here at UVU, and I taught French when I was a graduate student at BYU. And let me acknowledge the chairperson of the Foundation Empower Mali, James Arrington, and I will acknowledge my fellow Malian, Dr. Maiga Abdoulaye Talatu from Mali, who is here a faculty here at UVU, and a dear friend of mine, Andrew from Ghana, who speaks fluent French. Glad to have you. And my very good friend from long time, Dr. Sijenja. We did a lot of activism here in Utah together, and back then I was a graduate student at BYU. Each and every one of you, also my dear friend that I've met in 2000, actually the turn of the millennium, we were in Timbuktu together. Dr. Heather Webb also has come to listen in. So I wanted to entertain you today on the topic that is current in my country, leadership in times of crisis. Mali is going through a tremendous amount of turmoil. It's frightening to some. It's scary to others. Welcome, Jim. Good to have you. But leadership makes everything so bearable for the people. So my underlying thing today to talk about is leadership with integrity. In terms of crisis or not, integrity is needed with leadership. It is the #1 ingredient for success in leadership. particularly in times of crisis. Now, we are in a global crisis. Mali, like many other nations, we're living through pandemic. It changed our way of lives. It was scary at first. We shut everything down. We did not know how to manage this crisis. We speculated. Many decisions were made that added actually to the negative impact of the management of this global pandemic. But today, looking back, we are almost through the pandemic of COVID. It brought incredible opportunities. Who would have thought that almost 50% or plus of the students of UVU would be taking the courses off campus? Back then, it was very few. We had only few subjects that were taught. But colleges, universities had to adjust very quickly to this global pandemic. And even after COVID, online courses are going to grow. Online university is actually going to grow. So something good came out of it. So when I see the panic in my country in regard to the jihadism, in regard to 2/3 of the country being out of the control of the national government, we have a 2/3 of the country now is in no man's land, where terrorists flock in from all over the world, where people are threatened. We have more than 300,000 displaced, internally displaced people. We have close to 25,000 Malian who are living as refugees in our neighboring countries. Yes, it's a disaster. But leaders don't react the way the rest of the people do. Leaders are there to give us assurance, to tell us that everything will be okay, to actually solve the problems. We expect them to find solutions. But how do they find solutions? What is the number one ingredient? My take home today is virtue. Before, dictators like in Uganda could force people into their ways, impose their way of life on people. Few individuals in one country impose their will on more than 20 million people. I like to say today, we cannot lead 20 million people by gunpoint. We lead people with virtues. Our behavior determines the way we can lift a nation out of a given crisis. So what's happening in Mali, adding insult to injury, as our crisis is growing in terms of insecurity, where Mali soldiers are victims of attacks of multiple forms. Sometimes we wonder what's happening and what's going to happen. It was a time when Malians believed that the jihadists are going to take over the whole nation, that they're going to expand all the way to the capital city and impose Sharia law upon the people of Mali. Yes, we are a nation of 95% Muslim, but we are a secular nation. In our constitution, we value individuals being able to worship the God they want. Freedom of expression, freedom of religion. We want to protect those liberties because we are one of the hubs. And for how long people have been attacking these freedoms? They want to impose their religion on everyone. That is the argument or the pretext they have. But in reality, what is happening in Mali has nothing to do with religion, has nothing to do with ethnicity, or geographic location. Growth comes with difficulties. Resources that we have are meager and finite. So there is a conflict for those resources that are not fairly, equitably allocated. So we have a governance that is excluding some people and promoting others on unfair grounds. And it creates frustrations. But also the inability of our nations, many nations in Africa, to meet the basic needs of its citizens bring an accumulation of frustration. Some people believe that democratic process is not serving them. They're not able to send their children to school. They don't even have access to medical care, let alone being able to be part of the decision-making process. They do not have the chance to speak up on matters affecting their lives or their future. So this really built up. Not having the democratic means to reverse the situation, some go as far as taking arms, weapons against their own country. This is not in any means a justification for rebellion in any country. We have to proceed with democratic method to bring about changes, in the conduct and the behavior of leaders. And that is what I have engaged myself in. I was living here in Utah, went to BYU. I came from a very modest background. 17 brothers and sisters living in dire poverty. My great-great-great-grandfather, Welese, was a founder of our city called Welese Bugu. Welese is the name of my ancestor. Bugu means the town of Welese. Long line of poverty. My father decided that he's going to break the cycle of poverty by sending all of his 18 children to school. That was radical in the 60s. And the neighbors were outraged. They said, if you send all of your kids to school, you're going to be a burden to our society. You are not going to be able to feed your family, and your family is going to go hungry. My father's answer was always, my family will go hungry, but my family will not know the darkness of illiteracy. I love this. Because of that decision, we actually were able to break the cycle of poverty to a measure that my father probably never dreamed of. One of his offspring going to a university here, the best university in America maybe, Brigham Young University, you might have heard of. No offense to you guys. But he never envisioned that I would be, for example, running for president in my country or becoming mayor of our city. So my engagement came from my family first. It all starts at home in your family. The kind of upbringing we have has a big impact on how engaged we are in our community, in the world in general. So that engagement started in 2009 after our foundation has built 15 schools at that point. I decided to go back home. That America doesn't need me. Being in America is very comfortable. The freedoms that you enjoy here sometimes is taken for granted. But I chose to leave this behind, to live a rewarding employment, to leave my home here, that I can make a bigger impact back home. It's good to focus on yourself. It's good to thrive. But I told my wife that the biggest impact we can make is not going to be here in America. It is home, where people are lacking almost everything. She couldn't understand back then because she was not connected to my country. She's from India. We met at Brigham Young University. So she was at first very reluctant about moving to Mali. But in the end, when I was elected in 2009 mayor, while I was still here, I went to the cities there. I talked to the tribal leaders. I talked to the village chiefs. I said, I want to become the mayor because I don't see progress in our community. What I see is that no one is contributing to the community well-being. Everybody's focused on themselves. So if they give me a chance, I want to lead our community. It was a shock to many, even here in America, being at the time the only member of the LDS faith in Mali. People thought that Malian will react to that people will have anti-LDS sentiment. But religion was not my concern. I was concerned with how I can contribute to the well-being of my people. But luckily, when I went and talked to the people, 86% of the vote in Welesebubu went to me. And the day they called, I was sitting here watching on Facebook my nomination or my appointment as mayor of Welesebubu in 2009. So I went home. I talked to the tribal leaders. I talked to the 44 villages that make up of my city, the municipality of Welesebubu. I said, thank you for placing your trust in me. Now, I cannot succeed alone. I'm here to facilitate. As a mayor, I want to work with you. I'm not here for my own glory. I'm not here for my own benefit. If it were so, I would have just stayed in America. I'm not here for money. I'm here to serve because I strongly believe that to lead is to serve. Leadership is nothing but service. As long as we have that ingrained in our head, chances are we will succeed in any endeavor as a leader. So I told villagers they need to contribute. At the time, they were very frustrated and discontent with the local government. They were not paying their taxes. Only 10% of the people were paying their taxes. Meaning that 10% had some relative trust in the city leadership. I said, this is not going to work. You have to trust back. You said, why would you do that? Why would we trust you? I said, simple. As a mayor, I am not going to send guards to come collect the taxes. It is voluntary. You have to come pay it. People laughed at me because that's not how it is done. I said, well, I will bet with you. You pay your taxes for 1 year. If you're not happy with the way I use your tax money, the remaining 4 years of my term, you don't have to pay anything. I will personally never ask you to pay anything. It was a good bet. People said, well, let's try that. So we went from 10% to 68% of tax collection rate. Now people were waiting to see how I'm going to make them happy. They thought I had a solution. But I thought of an experience in my faith. I started something called the Elders Quorum of the city of Welesebubu. What does this do? Communication, reporting, but also fellowshipping people, traveling to each of the villages, talking to the leaders and explaining them what a mayor does and how together we can improve our living conditions. So I organize every quarter, every village will send representative, 2 per village. We'll open the books of the city. We'll show who has paid taxes, who has not paid. We did a little bit of public shaming because it was a big gathering. And village's name will be read. The number 1 village will receive a flag of Mali as a token of leadership. The chief of the village will receive a compensation only for the top 3 cities, the top 3 villages. And the first time we gathered, I asked them, how would you suggest we use the tax money? That surprised them. The chief of the village of Fere Koruba, another village, said that he would like to say something, and he was overwhelmed by emotion. 70-year-old man shedding tears in Mali is not a good thing. So we were very confused. He was in tears. He said, when we were colonized, the French people came and beat us up and took our money and never asked us how to use the money or how to spend it. We never saw the color of the money we paid for taxes. And then in 1960, we got colonized. We got independent. Our own people came, sent guards, sent us to jail, collect the money, and then we never saw the color of the money. Now here today, you collected the taxes and you are asking us how to spend the money. Clearly, this is a new day in our community. It was a solemn moment. But what this tells me is that people want to have a say in how their life is run. So we opened the books, everybody looked at it, oh, this village paid, this village didn't pay, how much was collected total, how much was left unpaid. So there was accountability, there was transparency. And I talked to them honestly, because some of them wanted to know if they didn't pay, they can still benefit the same services as villages who had paid. I told them that was not possible. If you don't pay, you don't benefit. We cannot take the money paid by this village and go pay the teachers of your village. That would not be fair to this village, and it won't be fair to you too. How about we all chip in? The next year, 72% chipped in. The third year, 100%. It was a record in the whole country of Mali. The Minister of Decentralization actually traveled from Bamako to my city. And we had organized a citizen day. I am going into detail with this to tell you how leadership actually can bring participation, can bring hope. Because we all want to be included, not excluded. If you promote the sentiment, the feeling that everybody's voice matters, that everyone can contribute to the well-being of our community, whether it is a university, whether it's a church community, whether it is a mosque community or a municipality, leadership thrives, the community rise up. So Welesebugu was ranked 699th out of 703 cities, the bottom city, the poorest city of one of the poorest countries on earth. Within 3 years, we were ranked number 7 out of 703 cities. What happened? Some people thought that because of my ties with America, people were sending money to my city. No. We were using every dollar with integrity. We were making sure that $1 goes as far as $3. We're spending money efficiently. We're making sure that citizens, for example, when I came, we have like piles of birth certificates of children who were born but never received their birth certificate. I made sure that no child will be born during my term and not receive a birth certificate, but the old ones also I tended to go to villages and distribute them. Identifying all those children and making sure they have the basic right of owning a birth certificate. Little things matter. People see attention. They see empathy from their leadership. This is a smaller scale, but it can be scaled up to a nationwide attitude of leadership towards the people. And that's what I believe, that today's challenge, the challenges, extraordinary as they are in Mali, can constitute hope. And we are beginning to see that this extraordinary constraint that the people of Mali have lived, including terrorism, actually will help break the chain of the chain that was holding us from developing ourselves. Watch for Mali. The next 10 to 15 years, we are going to emerge as a result of the pressures that are on our country today. Those of you who are following the news, there is a big diplomatic, media and political pressure from France on Mali. They are very upset with my country now. From independence to today, leaders of my country never dared say no to France. You will not believe this, but every French colony or former colony now pay 10% on the revenue from export to the French people. That is a contract we entered in to get our independence. Poor nations, they've been exploited in that aggressive blunder. And that they're taking that same money and sending it back to us as foreign aid. But the reality is, we have been exploited. But today, Mali is saying no to France. Day before yesterday, the ambassador of France to Mali got called in. The people of Mali, through our government, expressed our indignation from the public insult the leaders of France have engaged in. The media war, the diplomatic warfare that have engaged against Mali, trying to belittle our country. But I thought to myself, this is the first time. They're the one barking because they're hurting. Because Mali is standing up, looking straight in the eyes of our former master and telling them, we are free. We are free to choose our friends. We are free to choose our allies. This happened because on the 22nd of September, no, the 25th of September, the Prime Minister of Mali stood at the UN and point fingers and told the French people that their military and security partnership is not working. The security strategy of France in Mali is failing. Let us evaluate it. Let us also have the courage to say it's not working, and let us have the courage as Malian to be able to partner as a result of the frustration of the Malian army. We purchased a plane from Spain, a troop transport plane, not a warplane. But this plane was blocked. We believe it was at the request of the French people, America blocked the purchase of this plane. America is a strong ally of Mali. We want to engage directly with America. We don't want this great nation to go behind to France to deal with Mali. We want to deal with Americans, and America is very welcome to Mali as a partner in our fight against terrorism, in our fight against jihadism, also in our struggle to bring about good governance. We need allies, and we invite America to consider Mali as a sovereign nation, that the engagement shouldn't go through France. The security partnership between Mali and America should be straightforward and direct. Currently, it is not. Because of that frustration, the army went and purchased 4 planes from Russia. What a loss for everyone. America manufactures only the transponder of this plane, which Captain Jim Green here knows exactly what a transponder is. Actually, he's the one that explained it to me what a transponder does. It allows for identification of airplanes. So, options. This policy of blockage did not work well. Once we turned to Russia, then there was an outcry. But we are focused on protecting our people, and our territory. We cannot stand for France telling us not to partner with anyone, especially when our partnership is not yielding the result that we all expected. Young French militaries are dying in Mali. It shouldn't be so. They need to empower us. They need to help us fight our own war. That's where we want to be. Now, when we talk about crisis, you can see that in addition to the pandemic, we have security issues. In addition to security issues, we have governance issues, which is one of the most damaging to our country, which is corruption. Leaders are embezzling the mega resources, and we are being called a poor nation. By any measures, Mali should not be a poor country. We have more natural resources than most of the countries giving foreign aid to Mali. Gold, uranium, diamond, gas, natural gas, you name it, we have it. But the gold of Mali is not shining for the people of Mali. It's shining for multinationals. We need leadership with integrity. Here in America, anywhere in the world where people aspire for greater things, it takes leadership with integrity. To sum up, let me share with you that Malians today, all that we need is transparency, honesty, and empathy. Leaders who will associate with their own people. Leaders who will put people first. Who understand that to lead is to serve. That we cannot lead a nation with gunpoint. Dictatorship wouldn't thrive anymore in this 21st century. We lead a nation with virtue. So that's what we're asking for, and that's what I am engaging through a political party that I created called Parti pour l'Action Civique et Patriotique. Someone can better translate it in English. Party for Patriotic and Civic Actions. I have started running for president in 2022. I was a candidate, and then a coup happened. A military coup interrupted the presidential election. I had engaged. I was one of the candidates with the best communication, especially the billboards and everything. People were impressed. It was my first time. I had raised a lot of money, and we campaigned hard. And 1 month before the election, the junta decided to overthrow the government in a military coup. It was overwhelming. I had put all of my effort and all of my resources, personal, and also raised money for this endeavor. And in front of our eyes, everything collapsed. They suspended all of the institutions. They suspended the Constitution. We were in the special regime. Democracy was gone. I didn't know what to do. This happened March 22nd. I came in my living room and collapsed. My wife came and found me on the ground and kicked me and said, "What are you doing on the floor here?" And I said, "You don't know what happened?" She said, "Yes, I well know. But that doesn't justify you coming and having pity on yourself in my living room." And I said, "What are you talking about?" She said, "You go out there and do something." I said, "What do you mean? These are people with guns and there's a curfew. You can't go out." I said, "Yes, you can. You go out and do something." It was challenging. She was right. She said, "We left America. You took your family to come to Mali. We left the comfort of America. You wanted to lead your country. And now that there is a coup, you can hide in the living room. This is the time for leaders to rise. So you go there and do your leadership thing." She she was right. So I put on my bulletproof jacket, my bulletproof vest, and put a jacket on top of it, and got in my car. It was not a good idea. I got on the street, and immediately we got chased by military with guns, and I told my driver to just keep going until we came to a checkpoint. And this video is actually on YouTube. We got to a checkpoint, they surrounded my car, and I rolled down the window, and luckily some of the military recognized my face. And Mr. Mayor, where do you think you're going? I said, I'm going to see the coup leader. They said, do you not know that there's a curfew? Do you have an appointment with the coup leader, Sanogo? I said, yes, I do. But I didn't. So I repented about that. So 5 checkpoints later, I was here in the military barrack with soldiers, very nervous, with guns. And I waited until the Captain Sanogo left one meeting, heading to his office, and he saw me. I said, Mr. Mayor, in a very perfect English, I said, what are you doing here? I said, I have come to tell you. Well, actually, he invited me to his office. We went inside. He said, what brought you here? I said, I have come to tell you that power does not belong in the hands of military. You should give the power back to the civilians. He was not happy with that answer. He pulled back. He said, why would you say that the next day of the coup? I said, Sanogo, I know you love Mali. You were captain. You took oath to protect our constitution, to protect the institutions. So you love this country. If you turn the power back to civilian today, you will be a hero, no doubt about it. I'm here because I love this country. I left America. I've come here to serve my people. So together, let us do the right thing. He said, even if I wanted to do that, who would I give the power to? It was a striking question because I didn't have an answer to that. I said, I don't know. But here's my contact. If there's anything I can do, but I do believe the right thing would be to transfer power immediately to civilians. Unfortunately, he didn't listen. The international community pressured. He finally gave up the power and ended up in jail for 7 years. I would sum up and just say that situations can be complicated. People can lose hope, but leaders are always there to reassure, to do this with honesty, in a transparent manner, but also with empathy. To lead is to serve. I thank you. Yes, we'll show a short video and then I'll take questions. If anyone has a question, I'll take it. No, please, have a seat. I'll sit right here.
Is among the 10 poorest countries. Today, more than ever, the country is in need of big ideas to take the country forward. I came from a very long line of poverty. Thanks to the vision of my father, that he decided that he is going to break the cycle of poverty in our home. My father would say, my family will go hungry, but my family will not know the darkness of illiteracy. He sent all of my siblings to school, all 17 of my siblings. Some nights we will not have any food to eat at all. We'll go to bed on an empty stomach. That's a sacrifice that we pay to get an education. When I came, Benjamin was a failing city. Less than 10% of the people believed in the local government. Less than 10% of the people were paying their taxes. I seized that moment. I went back, talked to the tribal leaders, the chief of the villages, and told them that if they were to vote for me, I swear that I will not misuse the tax dollars. Surprisingly, 86% of the people of Mississippi voted for me. Now the people of Mississippi enjoy the cleanest source of energy, which is solar panels. We have running water. Through the foundation that I have created, we built 15 schools in rural areas of Mali, where children otherwise would have walked 7 miles one way to get to the nearest school. But today, 15 villages have their own school. Education is that light that will allow Malians to solve our problems. This man is so dedicated to changing his country that I told him,
You've got to be president. My God, your country needs you. Not just the country of Mali, but the continent of Africa. Mali can change all of Africa the way it is today. As mayor, to me he's a governor, my gosh, of all the different cities he has, he did incredible things in a short period of time. Helped get rid of corruption, but by getting both sides to realize what's best for Mali. He's involved in getting the water and planting. I'm so behind what this man is doing that I've already told him. You will be president, hopefully. I'm going to support you in every way I can. I want to help EA develop Mali with ecology, with fairness for everybody, as a model for the world, how we can work together, how capitalism works, but how it works to benefit everybody in Mali. He's magnificent. He's the best thing that could ever happen to Africa and to the example of the world and what you could do if you really care about the people and you know that certain principles work. Again, I'm dedicating my time and I'm fighting to make this happen. So whoever's listening to this, any way you can support this great man, please do, because I sure am going to support him and even physically be there and help make some changes. Wow. Can we change the world?
He's grounded himself in ways that few people in the nation have. He gets things done, and he does it in a remarkable way.
The people of Mali are very lucky to have a leader with the integrity that Ye has. I've always known him as a man of great character and great leadership capacity and a man of principle. He's a man of integrity, and amazing to watch the good that he has done in that country.
Ye Samake, a wonderful man and an inspired leader. The people of Mali need a president who understands the value of education and self-determination. Ye has risen to become a great leader in Mali. His success is the result of a quality education coupled with hard work. Ye, best of luck in the upcoming election. I know that we will be seeing great things from you in the future. Best wishes to one and all.
I believe that he will make a very, very good president, and I urge you to support Ye Samake for president of Mali.
So do we have time to take a few questions? So if you have questions, we'll be happy to take a few. Not from you, James. Yes, please.
Excellence. Okay, I think I can speak louder now. So thank you, Excellence. I haven't seen you for a year.
It has been.
And we used to visit more often. And so I just wanted to say, my name is Talachu Maiga. I am the staff here, faculty, and I'm the university alumnus. So 2 years ago, on the digital sign-up here, we during our conference with the UN Global Society, Civil Society, Samake, we were inviting Samara, who is your friend, is also political leader in Mali, Prime Minister, former Prime Minister. So the reason I'm saying that is that, and Ye is here, so I'm very happy that UVU, my college, my university, is really kind of during things, towards Mali, putting Mali in the spotlight for those dignitaries to have visited our campus. So, and really, I support everything as a Malian, right? Last time I was there was this past summer. I was there like what? I only came before school started until mid-August, yeah. So as a Malian, I like what he said, and about leadership and about the situation, the political situation in which Mali is right now. And I am totally confident that Mali is going to be back. I don't know if I can ask a question now, but
Of course you can.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
So what is, I know you talked about the French, the turmoil going on right now, and people can get that in the news and social media. But so what is the position of your political party in that? If you want to talk about that.
Of course, yes. Yeah, it's too bad that Prime Minister Mara was not able to come on this great campus. And I just appreciate your pride in UVU. As I told you, I taught here in the years 2000, so I love this campus. And now UVU is the largest, 44,000 students. That's incredible. Man, come on, let's give it up for 44,000. The largest. That's great. So that's leadership. Our position is clear. Actually, I'm working very closely with the Prime Minister of Mali, because I was here 2 weeks ago. I flew from Mali to come to America with the purpose of asking U.S. leadership to release our plane. I talked to many in the Congress, in the Senate. I talked to a lot of leadership and created some citizen empathy, talking to U.S. citizens and asking them to intervene because, we rely on America for a partnership. Now, what happened is the situation between Mali and France, as I said, when your country is facing another country, no matter what your reasoning is, you support your country. So I am 125% behind Mali government. When there is a threat from outside of our country, we should come in unity. You might have reasons, you might have your analysis, you might have your understanding, but it doesn't matter that day. Where America faces threats from outside, they speak with the same voice. They stand behind their leadership. That's what should happen in Mali. Unfortunately, some of our leaders think that this is a time of joke, that this is a time for self-aggrandizement. This is a time about their political ideology. I despise that, because this is not politics. This is about your country. This is about this is about patriotism. I get very passionate when I talk about it. I put videos out. I express myself right before flying here to national media. And I went and met with the Prime Minister, the current Prime Minister, and congratulated him and expressed my support. Unfortunately, some of those leaders who think that this is the time for them to reason and say that France is right, or we shouldn't be talking like that, in the face of the insult that is coming from the president of a nation towards the prime minister of a sovereign nation. I will lead you to a video that I also made on when Bazoum from Niger made similar comments. I was the only politician in Mali to come out with strength and express my indignation for his interference in our national matters. Some people said, oh, but he's right. It doesn't matter. We don't need his right. Nothing will make it right for him to insult our national or interfere into this. No. I can say it. You can say it as a Malian. But on an international stage, for the president of another country to express himself in an insulting, unfriendly manner is a breach of international protocol. Some people don't understand international relations. We are in politics. I studied politics. I have a master's degree in public policy. Because of my previous failure to become mayor, when I came to America, I studied public policy to better understand these things. And I try to advise some of our politicians that they need to change their position. They need to support, they need to have this patriotism at a time where we are faced by external threat. I hope that answers your question. Our position is clear. When it comes from outside, we are here with the flag, bearing Mali's flag, with dignity, with pride, and with passion. Thank you. Any other question? Yes, please.
How many schools are you up to now? And tractors and water systems?
We have 40, we are actually building our 43rd schools right now. So 43 schools. The last one is the first kindergarten in Badalabougou. This is the hub of all of the national political figures. They live in that area. But it's been 10 years since the mayor of Badalabugu, or mayor of Kubinseng, is looking for resources and support partners to help build a kindergarten. This is the first time we engage in building a kindergarten. So this is we have 43 schools. We have donated 7 tractors now to people in Mali, 7 villages. Now you saw the rig in the video. We purchased a rig. Now we're drilling in many communities because access to clean water is a big issue in Mali. So we're providing clean water to several communities. That is part of the way we are here to serve. Because for us, politics is, yes, we can stand up and say everything we want to say, but we can also serve our people. So we join both service and political process. Thank you, Jim. Andrew, yes, please.
Yeah, this is an excellent presentation. Very, very passionate, very well expressed, and we've been taught. I've learned so much just being here, and I really appreciate your time. I guess my question would be a statement that you said your dad made. He said that in spite of all the, having 18 children, he was going to send all of them to school, and they may know poverty, but they will never know the darkness of illiteracy. That just is so touching, right? Coming from Ghana, where illiteracy rates are not that high anymore, but it's still, you still look back and you say, wow, if these people were a little bit more literate, if they could read and write, how powerful they would be as a people.
True.
How powerful they can stand up and say, well, I'm going to go get this or get that done, and so on. How is illiteracy? Certainly your family, because of your dad and his vision, was blessed. But in general, in Mali, how is that and how are things improving?
It has improved significantly. Back then we have only 11% of literacy rate. And infant mortality was 490 per 1,000 back then. So almost 1 out of 2 children will die. But today, really, we are 52% literacy rate. So it's going way up. Recently it was 49, now it's 52. Life expectancy is rising. So Mali is seeing a lot of progress in terms of human development indicators. It's true, when my dad was making those decisions, it was radical. It was radical because, first of all, they didn't know the benefit of education in general. It was not our way of life. This was imposed by colonizers. We have our own traditional way of transmitting knowledge. So people were reluctant to send their children to school. If you see, at that time, they only send children of outcasts, and orphans were the one that would be sent to school. And at some point, they were the one leading the country. So in many ways, yes, literacy is, as Nelson Mandela would say, a powerful tool that you can place in the hands of any people, to paraphrase. But it has been said by researchers that any country below 50% of literacy rate does not have the foundation for development. So education is key. And that's why I'm engaged, not just talking about it, in building schools. Because I have personally benefited from the positive aspect of education. So one of my purposes is to make sure that I extend this to as many as possible. So we are building schools, we are building housing for teachers, we are every year we give an important amount of textbooks to improve the quality of education in Mali. So we believe in education as a force for good, as a force for transforming a nation.
Women benefiting us.
More than men, because before, young women attending schools, middle schools are usually 5 to 7 miles away from the villages. That's why we build middle schools, to bring schools in the villages. Those young girls were exposed to a lot of things. That's why mothers will keep them at home. Not only to help them with chores, but also to protect them from teen pregnancy, from other things, because they're outside of the village without parental control. And with the school in their own village, enrollment rate for women go way up. You go to some of our classrooms, it's 50-50. Sometimes it's actually more young girls than boys because of the proximity of the school. So yes, it has impacted significantly, and that's one of the reasons why we do this, because I understand this. I'm a rural person. I spend a lot of time in rural areas, and that makes a big difference as a politician, because we know the struggles. I went through it myself, but I also live very closely to Malians, understanding when I build these schools, I spend nights there. If you go in the remote areas of in my country, there's absolutely no presence of the government, of the state. The only presence is the teacher. Even the classroom in which those teachers are is built by the community or by foundations like ours. So we support the government, we help build schools, and we help access to education in rural areas. James.
A while back, September 18th, you sent me a message, one of your...
Oh, yes.
A message from one of your competitors.
Yes.
One of your greatest critics.
In the city of Welesebubu, that's right.
And you had built a school that impacted him, and he gave a response. I was wondering if maybe you would translate his message.
Read it in French. Andrew will be happy to translate it. Yeah.
I can't read it in French.
Oh, Andrew, vous lire et traduire.
Oh!
Yeah.
Je vous remercie, Ye. I thank you, Ye, Samake, pour la construction de notre école fondamentale de faire Europa en 2014. Okay, so we thank you for the construction of our school, our foundations, I guess, in that city in 2014. Aujourd'hui, le candidat de l'école a fait 100% au DEF de 2020 à 2021. Félicitations, le candidat adjoint au DEF. Bon courage, le candidat non adjoint. Okay, so yeah, you gotta.
Yeah, I'll help you with that. Oh, yeah, Professor Maiga will tell her too.
I don't mind.
Yeah, so it looks like they're very grateful for the construction of the school.
Yeah.
And today the candidate of the school did was it a donation?
It's like 100% admission to exam.
Oh.
It's a national exam, so.
DF, right?
Yeah, DF, yes.
It's like the middle school national exam. Yeah. So 100% admission rate.
Wow. The average in Mali is 30%.
Yeah, so this year 38%, yeah.
For 100% of them to have access to this exam means that everywhere we put a school, we make a huge wave of difference. That's
thank you, James.
That's amazing.
Yeah, Andrew, I'm glad James brought this up. Not only we build a school, but we make sure that we retain good teachers. We build housing for teachers. In this specific village, we built a school, we built housing for teachers. We also put a merry-go-round, like an Empower Playground, made in Utah. The only other African country where we have Empower Playground is in Ghana. So actually we transported 2 of these Empower Playground from Ghana all the way to Mali. It produces energy as kids play on it. And it charges the lanterns that these kids can take home to study where there is no electricity. But we also gave textbook to each and every one of the students. No wonder the impact is they did 100%, where the national average is 38%. So this young man who sent his congratulations is one of my fiercest critics in the city of Welesebubu. He's a member of a different political party. Nothing I did as a mayor was good enough for him. He put a lot of pressure on me, and now he sent this. I transferred it to, I received it immediately when I was with James, and I transferred it to James. But thank you for bringing this up too. Yes, my friend.
So I have this question that's very dear to me. So I'm Malian, and I'm also a French citizen, right?
Yes.
I remember when I was a kid, after the revolution in 1991, the French decided to devalue our currency.
Yes.
Right? So whatever cost 10 francs was now 20. Right?
Yeah.
When I was a kid, right? And today we are in crisis with France. Can they decide to devalue their currency again? That's the first question. The second question is, why do they still produce our currency and decide who we can bargain with? Why don't we own our own currency?
See, this is that's an incredible question. Even last night, I was talking to someone. I said, if I were president today of Mali, I would look into cryptocurrency. Mali needs to innovate. We cannot just follow the traditional way of doing things. We are in 21st century. We can look into ways where we are sovereign, we are independent. It doesn't make sense. I would rather have France CFA back than stick with from Mali and back than stick with France CFA. It does not make sense. It does not make sense. A nation who doesn't produce its own currency is not sovereign. So it is a matter of sovereignty to me. The French citizens, the French people know this. My positions are clear. It's not anti-French, it's pro-Mali. I don't mind our partnership with countries in a win-win, but I don't stand a win-lose. We don't want to lose in any aspect of our relationship. We need to choose who we can ally with. So clearly, I prefer, personally, to have better relationship with America. I prefer Mali to have a direct engagement with America. But in the absence of the support of those we want to partner with, we take the support of those who are willing to help us. And that's what's happening today. They block up airplane here in America. Russian brought forth airplanes to Mali. Are we going to say no to that? Of course not. It's for the sovereignty, it's for the protection of lives and the goods and the people and our territory. So one of the problem that I am having in Mali is I speak from my heart. I do not look in the eyes of people and just tell them what they want to hear. I say what is best for us as a nation. I didn't go to Mali to please someone. I didn't need the comfort of America to go there and cater to someone's need. I went there to help build our country. You guys live here in this incredible country. People are doing everything they can to come to America. It is not easy to live in this great nation and go back home. That's why some stay here illegally. And for a good reason. You have all the freedoms. All the freedoms. As of course, Americans think that they're threatened, their freedoms are threatened, and they do everything to protect it. I'm trying to do everything to bring more freedom back home at the cost of my own comfort. My kids are going to school in Mali, better schools here in America. They get treated by medical care lesser than what we could have afforded here in America. But we have to get out of our comfort zone to serve. Service is not easy. It's not just comfortable. It can be painstaking. It can be painful. It can be challenging. But we must serve because we have been served. We owe it to God. We owe it to our Creator to serve one another, because in the end, if you believe, it all belongs to Him. So who are we to say that I will not expand my potential in helping more people than just my tiny little family? It would have been so much easier to stay here in America. I own a home here. I had a really good job here. My boss is sitting here. I very good salary. But that's just me. My comfort. I traded that for the greater good I can accomplish. We're not asking everyone to make that kind of sacrifice, but we can all help in our one way or the other. We can help in our communities. Our support or our service does not need to be global. It does not need to be international. It can be local. It can be on our campus. It can be at our church. But we must serve. And that's my purpose and my commitment to myself and to God, to serve.
Thank you. Do we have just the last question?
Yeah,
Yes.
I have a question.
Please.
My name is Mohammed and I'm a student at UVU. So thank you for your time, your presentation. It was incredible. And my question is, 70% of people believe in religion and people are not educated and for example, people go against Ibeka and many people were killed. There were manifestation and I want to ask, how would you deal with religious people and how you believe in our culture and nothing?
Man, are you Malian?
Yes.
You're Malian? Are you Malian?
Yes.
Oh, my! I didn't know you guys were Malian. You better be voting for me. I'm just kidding. But anyway, wow. Mohammed. You know, Mohammed Toure, I know Talatu would like to hear my answer on this too. He said, whoa. Now, the reality is, we have to keep the secular form, la forme républicaine laïque de notre pays. We have to maintain that at all costs. If we were to say, well, everybody has to be Muslim, it takes away our freedom. God did not impose a religion on any nation. If we believe that He is all powerful, yet He gave us our agency, free agency. You are free to choose what religion. I am one of the very few, if not the only non-Muslim running for president in Mali, as far as I know today. I have never felt that because I'm not Muslim that I should not speak up. I have never felt, Diko is a personal friend of mine. I visit with him. Actually, I supported him when he organized the M5 against Ibeka. Ibeka is the worst president in the history of Mali. The guy was beyond bad. I was his ambassador. I resigned in 2018 to go run against him. Now, I was stuck here because of pandemic in August. Mali was closed. I was here. I flew to Abidjan. I rented a truck and drove to Zewa and got on my luggage on one motorcycle and myself I rented 2 motorcycles. Crossed the border, sneak into Mali on motorcycles because I wanted to be there. I wanted to go protest. I wanted to claim for a better leadership, better governance for Mali. I went and met with Diko. Diko said, yeah, you should be the vice president of this movement. Your ideas are incredible. But because of political leadership conflict, they elbowed me a little bit. So they never let me be part of the leadership of the M5. But yes, our constitution is clear. The people are sovereign. Sovereignty is not in any law. It is in the people. When we are oppressed, when we are abused, when our future is being hindered by any leadership, we have the right to take our power back. It is not his. He is not a king. It's not his birthright. So when you're not doing well, the people have the right to say, give us back our power because we lent it to you. You're not doing good by ours. That's what happened. Some people say we should do no. Democracy is also the power of the people to be able to ask for better. People who do not require and ask for more are served less by the people. I hope that you young people will engage, because you are here, you are understanding democracy, the interplay of democracy. So take this. By all means, better your own lives. Find great jobs. Make a whole lot of money. But serve in any way you can, whether it is in politics, whether it is in humanitarian. I know you are sending money already home. So I invite you to stay tuned. Never get disconnected. I never thought one day that I would live in any other country. When I came to America, whatever I saw that was good, I wanted it for Mali. When I saw freedom of religion, I want that for Mali. When I saw great educational policies, I want this for my country. That's how I lived my life here. How can we bring what's good from America to add to what we have? We have great stuff. No matter how poor we are, we can teach the whole world how happiness is with little, how to be happy with very little. Malians are happy people, like Ghanaians. But there's a lot we can take from others. And as far as religion is concerned, we must protect religious freedom. We must protect the right of the minority. Recently, a member of the government insinuated that we are a republic, Islamic Republic of Mali. That was a public outcry. Les jeunes intellectuels chrétiens du Mali made a press conference recently to say, let us defend our freedom. Let us defend laïcité. And I am part of that movement. Whether it is through those or through politics, I will be the president that will fight for freedom for all in Mali, because I understand agency. Thank you for this question, Mohammed. You guys should have said that at the beginning, that you're Malian, so I would have been campaigning instead. And just kidding. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, it has been a wonderful. Thank you, Ambassador. Please. I want to thank you personally for the opportunity that you have given us to learn from your beautiful country, from your wonderful story that you have to share with us. I think this has been very rewarding for all of us. I appreciate your comments, sir, in regards to his presentation. We felt that we have been taught, and taught very well today.
Thank you.
I want to wish you the very best in the upcoming days and the coming months, and I wish the very best not only for you but also for your country.
Thank you.
And as a memento, I want to present to you just a little thing so you can take back home. And this is a guest professor memento that we would like to present at this time to Ambassador Samake.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I am honored.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm honored. Thank you.
Yeah, let's give him a hand.
Thank you.
Hey, now, folks, if you want to just visit